I want to tell you about real efforts, what we are doing in European Jewish Congress to realize these approaches. We had several meetings with the top leadership in Europe. Barroso, Van Rompuy, President of European Parliament Buzek. And the subject, besides the subject of our actual problems, was always this subject: how to create practically the center of research and education in Europe, which will constantly take care about the process of legislation. The next meeting will be on the 6th of July, and we are going there with a non-Jewish NGO, with European Council of Tolerance and Reconciliation, with President Kwasniewski. But we'll speak about formally non-Jewish issues, but de facto we're speaking first of all, as EJC, about our Jewish needs. With your permission, I will go to actual things which are the problem today in European continent. And then you will understand my position, which means that this ideology, which I presented in the beginning, will be very much connected with the actual problems we have in Europe. First of all, anti-Semitism. According to the last Tel Aviv University report, it was a report of so-called Kantor Center of examining anti-Semitism in the world, the number of anti-Semitic acts dropped in 2010 around 40%. Could we be satisfied by this number? I can tell you not so much, because the structure of anti-Semitism changed completely. Listen, when we see the new phenomena, academic anti-Semitism, we see top bureaucracy anti-Semitism, we see anti-Israelism, and etc., etc. And also classical anti-Semitism is always could be seen. I will give you a few examples just to remind you who they are allowing themselves to express these anti-Semitic positions. De Gucht, he is a European Union Commissioner. He announced on the excessive power of Jewish lobby on Capitol Hill and how irrational Jews become when they deal with the state of Israel. We had official apologizes about this from Mr. Barroso, but he's still in his office, the guy. The statement by the Bundesbank board member on Jewish race and money. Recent statements made by Belgium Justice Minister. And of course, the shameful statements made by the Danish film director Lars von Trier at Cannes Film Festival. You know this phenomenon. I would like to note that the recent decrease in Holocaust awareness in Europe proves the need to continue with our traditional annual Holocaust commemoration events, such as the one we held this year in the European Parliament. Participants included the EU Parliament President Jerzy Buzek, EU High Representative Catherine Ashton, Israeli Minister Yuli Edelstein, our dear President Ronald Lauder, and many, many EU parliamentarians and EU commissioners. But I can say it was very formal participants. We want to explain non-Jewish street that the values we are speaking, it's the common values. And we have to stress in all our efforts this, always. And that's why I want to remind you that a few years ago, we established with our reliable friend, the former president of Poland, the special non-Jewish entity, which is called European Council of Tolerance and Reconciliation, better known as ECTR. This organization, which is comprised of prominent former European leaders, including José María Aznar from Spain, Goran Persson from Sweden, Václav Havel from Czech Republic, Rita Sasmuth from Germany, and many, many others. I can tell you, I think this is a very important instrument for us in our ideology. And ECTR held few conferences already, and the last one was held in Dubrovnik, discussed the way of European countries treat minorities and how they see the balance between tolerance and security. Leaders of all four countries, I mean Balkan countries in the region, attended the conference along with many other prominent European leaders.
Moshe,
And
it's very hard for me to act as a police, but I have to put you a fine because we. I'm sorry, I think we have really 3 more minutes. We started with 10, but we give you 20, and the panels we have 5. So I apologize. I don't like to make fines, but I have to tell you, wrap up if you can, in 3 minutes. Can you do that?
of course,
I'm sorry.
just I will make a list what we are doing. First of all, Shechita, very important issue. What we are doing in Europe, we protect our origin, we protect our tradition. We can't allow anybody to touch our roots because it's the direct way to the more important values, to more important anti-Semitic things. Then I want to touch the subject, which is very important and which was already touched by a lot of people before me, Iranian threat. Recently I had a meeting with Bibi, with Prime Minister of Israel, 2 weeks ago in May. I told him, our dear Prime Minister, we have an opinion in European Jewish Congress that we have in reality one problem, major problem, and other things, new anti-Israelism, new forms of anti-Semitism, even this conflict with Israel and the problem of reconciliation between Israel and Palestine. All these problems have the one problem behind, Iran. Because Iran financing, Iran organizing, and etc., etc. This one problem is the subject to be concentrated. And he told me, I disagree with you completely. We have 3 problems, at least. The first one is Iran, the second one is Iran, and the third one is Iran. This means, and just now the speech of Mr. Lieberman proves this also, and the speech of yesterday of Mr. Shimon Peres also proves it. We have to have common understanding. What is the real threat of Iran? And if we see just now the Arabic Spring today, we have to understand what are the roots of this revolution. It's not revolutions, it's a revolution, because it's a very same process going in this region. But what is the danger of it for us? The danger is that it's shadowing the problem of Iran, for all of us, for Europe. And this is also the subject of our very intensive work and constant work in Europe. If you allow me, I will say a few words about Iran itself.
You have to pay the fine, remember. You have to.
Let's negotiate. No?
Don't worry, I'll make it happen.
Okay.
We have witness here.
I think the main message is already pronounced. Because of you, I will conclude.
No, you'll pay anyway, don't worry.
Okay. Dear friends, there is a medical theory. Somebody lives as long as he believes that others need him. If we, World Jewish Congress, European Jewish Congress, other brotherhood organizations won't live long, we have to have very long-term ideological program, like secured tolerance, based on major common values with non-Jewish street. And all other technical means which we could possess one day, like internet, media, art, culture, should be effective providers for the ideology. We are people of the ideology, and we should be very strong in ideology. Thank you.